Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Radio Maria Canada. I'm your host, Christina Doyle, this morning, and we have such an interesting, wonderful campaign coming your way that we want you to know about. I'd like you to welcome my guest, Marie-Claude Lalonde, who is the National Director of the Aid to the Church in Need, and it is a pontifical charity that has a mandate to act on behalf of the church. So, welcome, Marie Claude. Welcome to Radio Maria.
Thank you.
And let's begin right there. What is your mandate?
Our mandate actually is to help the church wherever she's in need because of poverty or religious persecution. So we are present in 150 countries, more or less. It varies a bit from year to year, and we're trying to help our brothers and sisters in Christ.
That's beautiful. So here's my question. If you go on the website, everyone, and which caught my eye right away, I love seeing children and seeing children praying. So your campaign this year, 1 million children praying the rosary. How did that come about? Like, why the children?
Why the children? Actually, it's an activity that started 20 years ago in Venezuela, near the capital, and some women saw children praying on the side of the road. And one of them remembered that Padre Pio apparently has said, if 1 million children pray the rosary, the world will change. And so they started organizing this campaign year after year, but it grew and grew and grew, and it became too difficult for one or two families to take care of it. So we decided to continue what these families have started. And now every October, we ask children from around the globe to pray the Rosary for unity and for peace, things that we badly need in our world, actually.
Absolutely. No, that is so inspiring. I must say, it caught my eye right away. Marie-Claude, then are there promotional materials that are sent to the schools, let's say here in Canada, on behalf of the aid to the church in need? So that
Yes, people can come on our website. They will find a link to the page that is about 1 million children pray the rosary. And there you will find information, a letter of introduction, a leaflet explaining with beautiful images how to pray the rosary. And we're inviting parishes, prayer groups, schools to pray. And we're talking about children, but everybody who feels young at heart is most welcome to participate as well.
Well, before I continue with this interview, I must tell you, Marie-Claude, I was so inspired by your website. Although I knew of the organization because we get the envelopes in our donation in our tithing boxes, right? And each year we have aid to the church in need. And now it really brought home to me what that really meant when I put my check in that envelope. What was that going to do for someone and for families around the world? And your website inspired me so much that I actually contacted I contacted Valerie Vulcane, who is the annual campaign coordinator this year, and offered my voice to promote the organization through churches somewhere down the line. So I have yet to hear from her, but hopefully you can say to her, in case you got this email from someone.
I think you mentioned your email, so we'll talk about it.
So that was precious. So I thought, oh my goodness, I was so taken aback when I see children. I'm a retired teacher, so I love children, and when I see children praying, it just, oh my gosh, just even when you're in mass, and you hear the child next to you and says the creed through their heart, or they're singing a hymn and they already know the words. Those children just bring the mass. They bring so much richness, so much love, so much importance, and how beautiful our faith is, our Catholic faith. So as I say, I was truly inspired. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Maybe I did some homework. Can you tell us who is the Bacon priest?
The Bacon priest actually is the founder of Aid to the Church in Need. He was a monk, and after World War II decided to help people who had been displaced in Europe. And to do that, he was collecting bacon in the farms in Belgium to be able to feed the needy people. And that's how he earned the name of the bacon priest, because that's what he was carrying and distributing at that time.
That's amazing. I thought that was such an interesting founding member. I thought that was beautiful. Can you tell us when we talk about persecution, Marie-Claude, are we talking about the kinds of instances we see here in Canada? Graffiti on garage doors, there have been shootings, all kinds of things. Are you talking about, is that persecution,
I,
is how it's recognized?
I would say in Canada, we have incidents for sure, but there is no generalized persecution of Christians. But we need to keep the focus and look around, see what's coming, because you never know what can happen in a country. But the persecution that we're talking about most of the time is people who will be detained, tortured, killed, or even some genocides that are happening because of different faith groups. So that's what we talk about persecution, but we have to know that we have more than 350 million Christians living in a country where there is persecution. So and here it's an isolated incidents. Over there, it's most of the time generalized.
So then we're talking about Christians, correct? And
Yes.
then what are some of the infractions that are committed by our Christian brothers and sisters around the world that land them in jail or being persecuted? What are some of the things that you could identify for us?
Mhm. Well, for instance, I've seen in countries with totalitarian regimes, for instance, if a priest was criticizing the government for not doing enough for the poor people, that could land him in jail. We also had stories about people selling the Bible, a bookstore selling the Bible in a difficult environment. They will find something to take the shop owner. So these are little things, but that end up sometimes in very dramatic ways. And on top of that, you have the persecution that is conducted, I would say, by your neighbors in some countries. A rumor spreads against a Christian, and then there's a mob, and they beat up that person, sometimes kill them with absolutely no evidence of what happened. So these are very intense and difficult situations that are faced when we talk about persecution.
Now, Marie-Claude, would you say at this time, 2025, those persecutions have increased, have decreased, have stayed the same? What would you say, considering our times today?
It's always difficult to say because we don't have official statistics. No government or group goes public saying, "Oh, this year I persecuted this many Christians." So all we have is approximate figures. What I can say is when it gets better in a country, it gets worse somewhere else. So at best, it's the same, but I would think it's increasing a bit year after year. And I have to say that since I work for Aid to the Church in Need, I've never seen poverty or persecution get significantly better. So the times are difficult. Yeah.
Right. And then in terms of the Muslim countries such as Iran and Iraq, uh, what must that be like then for Christians? They can't be practicing their faith openly, are they? Or
Well, it depends where. You mentioned Iraq. In Iraq, yes, Christians can openly, practice their faith. There's always a risk that something will go wrong, but in general, at the moment, they are free to do that. But in Iran, for instance, I had a young man contacting me and saying, I'd like to become a priest, but you understand, I am in Iran. I can never study to become a priest here. What can I do? So these are also situations where he was not free to express his faith and he could not live up his vocation because he was in a country where the religious picture is very, very different, and the government imposes views on which faith you should practice.
so I suppose walking around with your Bible in your hand is probably putting your life in danger in the
Yes,
public.
there are some cases like that. For instance, North Korea is one of the worst countries, and owning a Bible can lead you in prison.
So then the aid to the church in need, how do you go out there? How do you reach out to these countries? Is it things you send by mail or do you actually have on the ground people going in and even placing themselves in danger, I would imagine?
Yes, we have one employee in the Middle East
What?
looking at yes, looking at the situation. In other countries, we work through the bishops' conferences and the bishops themselves. So they are our eyes on the ground. They tell us what are the needs. Very often they know where to get what they need, but they don't have the financial means. So we're helping them in that fashion. Because we don't conduct projects. It's the church conducting its own projects with our help.
Your help, right. And so then what kind of help then? What is the help then that these countries receive? What does that help look like?
Yes, well, it depends on the situation of the country, but for instance, we have sent food, organized shelters, helping pay the rent in certain parts of the Middle East, rebuild houses to help the affected populations over there. In other countries, it's simply a priest that has to walk 2 days in the jungle to reach a community, and sometimes we will get a letter saying, well, if I had a motorbike, I could visit my parishes. Can you help me with that? We've helped for construction of churches, chapels, and formation. We think that the future of the church is so important that we need to take care of our religious and priests so they are properly trained to face what's happening in our world, actually. So this is also a thing we do, and we publish books. And if I can just show you, this is the French copy, but this is a Bible for children that we have published in over 170 languages and dialects. So this is also the way we can spread the gospel, is to give the tools to the local church to conduct its work and take care pastorally of the faithful.
Wow, the needs are insurmountable. It's incredible what you are up against and what you have been working and doing and making a difference in this world, globally speaking. I'm going to play devil's advocate to you, Marie-Claude. when you look around Toronto and you see people that are refugees who have been housed in hotels and now who are going to be out of the hotel and onto the street, where we have numerous shelters, what would you say to the individual who says, "Why should I help someone outside when we need help here?"
Yes, it's a very good question. It's not the first time that I'm asked that question. But what I will say is that our brothers and sisters do not have a precise location. I encourage people to help and to give locally, but that is, I think, not sufficient. Our brothers and sisters of the world need us. And I think we have to do a bit of both. So locally, internationally, and that's how we will make our world a better place.
Absolutely. Can you, at the top of your head, can you share with us a success story that somewhere in the many of the countries that you help that have made a turnaround, that there's been something wonderful that's come, a positive outcome? Can you share us success stories? I'm sure there's plenty, but
There are plenty, but I can share one because I've seen it, I witnessed it in Egypt years ago. It was very under President Mubarak. It was almost impossible to build a church. It would take 10 years just to get the permit to build. So what the church was doing is the individuals would buy land, would ask a permit to build a farm building for chicken or something like that. And then after a few years of usage, they would convert it into a church. So I've been in beautiful farm buildings for mass because they keep the envelope of the building and they were building the church from the inside. And so this is a success stories because many churches came to life like that in Egypt. At the moment, it's no longer the case. It's easier to get permits, but in the beginning of the 2000s, that was the only way around, and we were very happy to be able to help them with that.
so then my question would be, then on the outside, it looks like a barn,
To start with, yes,
right?
and after the usage is accepted as a church, then they can work on the outside.
And the government is okay with that.
At that time, it was easier to get permission to convert an existing building than to build one. But it had to be used for farm purposes, sometimes for a year, 2 years, 3 years. So that's why I'm saying that I went to beautiful masses in a farm setting because they had to start there. But the situation is better now for Christians in Egypt. There are still problems, important problems, but building churches is not a problem as such a problem as it was before. So I would say it's a success story, a creative way to build churches.
So then how can we help you, Marie-Claude? How do we help you get the word out? Now,
Well,
this event to 1 million children praying the Rosary is on October the 7th. It's just
it's
around the corner.
yes. It's just around the corner. It's on the 7th. Invite people around you to participate. Tell them to come and visit our website where they can find some information. And even if you're not part of a group, as a family, you can decide to pray the Rosary on October 7th at the time that is convenient for you and to join the movement. And hopefully this year again, we will reach the million children since 2023. People can register online, and so we can count how many people we have, and we've reached the million since 2023. So we're very, very happy, and we count on everybody's prayers.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. And we know the power of prayer, don't we, Marie-Claude?
Absolutely. That's probably the first thing you can do and that everybody can do is to pray.
Right. That we cannot underestimate the power of prayer. What, Marie-Claude, it's what made you get involved? How did you even begin in this organization? I'm going
I
back.
think that's I think that's what we call providence. I came to the Church in Need 25 years ago. I'm a trained lawyer, and I needed a change. Did not know where to go. Uh, and then there was the offer for that job for ACN Church in Need, and I said, "Wait a minute." Uh, I am passionate about what's going on in other countries. I've always been involved a little bit with charity work, and maybe my competences can be used for that organization. And I applied for the job, and the president at that time happened to be a lawyer from Toronto. And so we connected, and that's how I started. And I learned a lot along the way about fundraising, especially, and about our church. There are many aspects of our church that I did not know. So it's been a very enriching experience all those years.
Well, I think this is a wonderful interview because many of us that attend church and have that little envelope in our boxes, really, I don't know how many of us truly knew what that little envelope represents and the kind of power and the possibility of change for the better for all peoples around the world that that little envelope makes. So it's brought us a new light into the aid for the church, and I'm so grateful that you were able to join us today. What would be one thing that you would offer to our listeners to encourage them to remind themselves, to that the envelope is important, being aware of the organization and its validity and its importance.
Well, the needs are great. That's where I would start. Needs are great. We are an international charity. If you look at our budget, you will say, oh, wow, amazing. They can do a lot. And this is true. But each year we still have to refuse about 2,000 requests because we don't have the funds. So every penny counts, small, big donations, everything counts. And it's all together that we will change things for our brothers and sisters in faith. And so that's why I would encourage people to help, because I know that many needs are not met because of the lack of funds, be it for Aid to the Church in Need or other organizations. The needs are great. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it, as you said before from the onset of our interview, you know, it is our responsibility. We are stewards of this planet, and we are to help each other, no matter where we come from, no matter what our skin color is, no matter what our faith is, that we all need to help one another. That is our responsibility. That's the bottom line. And I think that your organization reflects such a wonderful global outreach that I think it's just beautiful that I've been able to share this with our listeners. What is the organization and email and information that we can get a hold of through?
I will give you the website is ACN Canada.org. And on our website, you can find information about 1 million children praying the rosaries. You can get the material. You will see press releases that we've done on the topic. And you also have on the top of the page, right corner, a button, donate. And when you click on donate, then you can choose where you wish to send your donation. So I encourage people to pray and share what they have for with the needy. And let's start by praying, because I think that's an important part of our mission to encourage people to pray.
And we mustn't underestimate the difficulty of life for many of our Christians around the world who are living in fear, who are being persecuted because of their faith. And unfortunately, I came across instances where there's actually been shooting of the children.
Yes, all kinds of terrible things do happen. Um, at the moment, sometimes it's religiously motivated. Sometimes it's there are other conflicts behind all this. We might think it's religious, sometimes it's not, but nevertheless, terrorism, for instance, doesn't make a difference between adults and children. They just want to terrorize people.
Absolutely. So, my friend, it has been, excuse me, it has been a pleasure. It has been a pleasure to interview Marie-Claude Lalonde, my guest this morning, from the Aid to the Church in Need. And everyone, please take a moment, go to the website ACN hyphen, excuse me, Canada.org, and you'll be inspired just by the poster alone. I mean, it's just so beautiful. It's so inspiring. I don't know how you're going to top that one next year, but this, you caught my eye, I tell you. It was just fantastic. And seeing children praying together. So thank you, Marie-Claude. Would you like to give us any other information, anything that you would like to mention that maybe I missed?
Yes. Maybe I can say that this year we have an ambassador for 1 million children. His name is Remy, and he's 10 years old, and we were able to do a short video with him. So I'm sure you listen to him, you'll be inspired.
Absolutely. So how did you go about choosing Remy?
Actually, we sent out an appeal saying we would like to have a child as an ambassador for 1 million children praying the Rosary. So we can tell adults and children alike to participate. And Remy's mother contacted us and said, yeah, my son would be interested. So we met with them and we did that little video. And I think it's very refreshing to see a child talking about the importance of the Rosary.
Beautiful. Absolutely. The power of the Rosary, as Saint Padre Pio had said over and over again. Even St. John Paul II always said that was the greatest weapon he had ever had, was having the Rosary. Well, Marie-Claude, it's been a pleasure. Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much for joining us here on Radio Maria Canada. And I know you have enlightened all of us, inspired all of us to, to pay attention that globally speaking, we are connected, no matter how you look at it. We are all connected in one way or another, and we are in the likeness of God. God made us all. He didn't make just us in Canada or anywhere. He made us all in the same image. So you are truly a blessing, and I hope you continue in much success and
Thank
fundraising and joy and spreading the good word and helping as many as you possibly can. Um, do you ever come anywhere close to Toronto or do any speaking?
I do visit Toronto from time to time. Yes, of course.
Beautiful. Well, those of you who have heard this beautiful interview on ACN org Canada, please take a look at the website. And you know what? The next time when you're coming across in your little envelopes and you happen to see aids to the church in need, I know that you will make a significant donation, because now you know that you are helping your brothers and sisters who have no one to help them, who have no voice, and you will give them that voice through the ACN. Thank you. God bless you
Thank you.
so much. It was a pleasure meeting you today, and as I say, it's been an enlightening and inspiring interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you.